Hello, I'm Rex, and welcome to Babel Planet. Do you ever stop and wonder how is it that these random drawings or dots on paper become language? I do, so I did some research, and this is what I found out. In the last episode we talked about why we speak so many languages, but we didn't mention how a lot of them are written with totally unrelated systems. Sure, we know these 26 letters, but you probably noticed that maths are in Greek or electronics in Chinese. There are so many writing systems that it's impossible to learn them all. Some people never even learn all of the symbols in their language. You probably have thought, why we don't just write in the same way? And the short reason is that we simply can't. But you didn't come here for no short reason, so let's go back to ancient Mesopotamia, about 5,000 years ago. There were several big empires in Mesopotamia, but one of them, called Sumer, was when the first writing started. Before that time, people would make drawings to communicate stories, but the Sumerians had other goals in mind. Since remembering lots of numbers that are constantly changing is quite a hassle, they started making marks on clay tablets using a stylus. The position and number of the marks modified their meaning to represent words or numbers, making it the first time that you could write down an abstract concept and share it with other people. Similar systems appeared in Egypt and China, and sometime later the Mayan regions of what is now known as Latin America. And just as we saw with pi, over time these symbols evolved ever so slightly until it became something completely different. But Rex, you might be wondering, if these were the first systems, why don't we all use them, like with pi? The answer to that is a little complicated, but the main reason is that, for a long time, these writing systems were only learned by royalty or religious functionaries for a few reasons. The first is that, before pen and paper, writing was expensive, and only a few could afford it. The other reason is that these big empires did not want the common folk to be able to transfer information that could lead to a revolution, because, as we all know, information is power. And so, they kind of thought that commoners were not very smart, or else they wouldn't be commoners, so they never even bothered to teach them. But then again, Sumerians only really cared for writing as a business tool, and they taught the system to the Phoenician traders, who thought it really needed some tweaking and made it into their own. The Phoenicians were great at their thing, and as they traded their products and services around their corner of the world, their writing system got carried along until it finally got to ancient Greece. Now, the Greeks weren't particularly known for being a conquering empire, or even an empire at all. They were a bunch of small peoples that went to war all the time until they finally got tired of it, took the first vote in history and became a nation of city-states. But you know who did get famous for conquering everyone they encountered? Their neighbors, the Romans. When Rome invaded Greece, they saw that the Greeks were actually pretty chill, and the Romans decided that the Greeks were the smartest people around, so they adopted and adapted a lot of Greek culture for themselves, including writing, giving place to the Latin alphabet. As you know, the Romans then went on to conquer half the world, including Britain and Spain, and then the British and the Spanish conquered most of the world centuries later, so eventually almost all the countries conquered by them turned to the Latin script. And that's our history lesson for today. Now, to our stuff. What writing systems are there? We all know the Latin script is an alphabet, but what exactly does that mean? Well, simply put, an alphabet is a system where every symbol represents a single sound. There are exceptions, like the letters C or Q, but for the most part, that's it. But not all writing systems are alphabets. There are syllabaries like hiragana and katakana in Japanese. There are logographic systems like Chinese, where every symbol is an image or a group of images representing an idea. Others, like Arabic or Hebrew scripts, are called abjads. That means that only consonants are written characters and vowels aren't necessary, but you can add them by modifying the consonants. And some others are featural systems, which means that they might look like logographs to an untrained eye, but they are actually closer to alphabets in that each symbol represents a sound or a sign, and grouping a few of them together makes a full character. We should also mention that no script is fully one or another system. They all share features of one another. For example, Japanese syllabaries have the dakuten, a small mark on a glyph that turns a ka into a ga like in an abjad. Chinese is both logographic and a syllabary at the same time, since each symbol corresponds to a unique syllable. And if Oxford Dictionaries is to be believed, emoji can now be considered part of the English language, which would make it both an alphabetic and a pictographic language. Isn't that amazing? What about you? What's your favorite writing system? And if you could change the one you use, what would you modify about it? Let's discuss it in the comments and invite some friends to join the discussion. Next week, we'll talk about the evolution of language in modern times, which sounds like a very interesting topic. So come back on Sunday. Special thanks to these friends and collaborators for helping me to improve a few bits of this video. If you enjoyed it, please like it and subscribe to this channel so you can know when the next one comes out. If you collaborated with the subtitles for this to your own language, please leave your name here. Follow me on Twitter and Tumblr for discussion and more geeky stuff about languages. Thank you for watching. Cheers to you all!